Welcome, guys. So, in our series of PostgreSQL, we are now talking about replication, and today we are going to talk about our new topic, streaming replication. In our previous videos, we have talked about file-based replication, which is log-based replication, log shipping based replication, which is not this much like if a change happens on master that didn't get copied to the standby server right away until the file log shipping until the wall file gets 16 MB of size. So, but in streaming replication, we the wall files need not to be 16 MB of size. It the wall changes gets applied to the standby server right away as they are uh, created on master. The same time they are getting copied to the slave after as soon as they gets created on master they are getting copied to slave and then it gets applied. It wouldn't take much of a time like earlier file based replication. So let's start this topic. So what is streaming replication? But it's a core utility of PostgreSQL introduced with version 9.0. Okay, without the before this we don't have streaming replication. Okay, so it allows a standby server to stay more up to date than it is possible with file based log shipping. I told you that uh, when the file gets 16 MB you can watch my earlier videos for log based shipping and file based log shipping replication. So when the file gets 16 MB then it gets copied to the standby and that it gets applied. But in streaming application that's not the case. Okay, in this mode of replication server will get the wall records as they are generated in the master server. Okay, so without waiting for the wall file to be filled. So the wall records when they are getting written to the wall files of the master server, after that once the one wall record is gets created on master, it gets copied to the replication or standby server and then it gets applied there right away. Okay, this is much faster way of replication than file based log shipping. Okay, by default streaming replication is asynchronous, like we can make it synchronous as well, but it is asynchronous. We already talked about what is synchronous and asynchronous. Like in asynchronous, uh, no acknowledgement from standby to master server is sent, and master applies to all the changes one by one, and then it doesn't know what the condition of slave or if slave is applying the changes. But in synchronous, master sends its wall records to the standby server and then it waits for the acknowledgement from this standby server or servers. So if they have applied the changes or not. Once they have once the master receives the acknowledgement from standby server, then it's up goes for the next. So that is synchronous mode, but that will take much of time. Okay, so asynchronous mode is fine for the replications. So this is how it works. So users may have access to the master on read and write basis, and they have access to standby server only read only, because standby server applies the changes from the master only. And how it applies, like user sends its write application or read application to the master, it do his work, updates or inserts new records, then wall sender at the master server, it sends wall records to the standby server, and on the standby server there is a wall receiver process which receives the wall files from wall sender. Okay, and then wall receiver applies those to standby server. Okay, so this is how it works. Users cannot write to standby server, as we have already talked about it in our previous, as that is standby and it allows only read-only connections. Okay, this is replication we are talking about. We are not talking about multi-master. Okay, so this is replication. It applies only the changes which are from master. Okay, but the users can read from standby server. Okay, so how it works? PostgreSQL saves the updated information of a private server as a transaction log known as write ahead logs, which are wall logs. Okay, in preparation for crash recovery or rollback. The wall files are getting prepared in the master server, and the wall sender send these wall files to the receiver. Okay, so streaming application works by transferring or shipping the wall files to the standby server in real time and applying it on the standby server. Okay, so wall shipping between the primary server and the standby server is performed by the wall sender process on the primary server and wall receiver process and the standby server. Okay, this is at the primary server or master server. Wall receiver is at the standby server or the replication server. This process is started by setting up postgresql.conf and pg_hpa.conf files and few parameters in them. We'll see what to set in there and how these all working, how to set up replication. Okay, in our next videos. So in our next video, we'll be talking about wall sender process, and in the next we are talking about wall receiver. Okay, so that's all for this video. I'll be talking you in the next video on wall sender and receiver process. Thank you.